Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we're going to understand something really basic. The first thing is that we're going to understand about the API server and what is API actually. So what activity that does this API server does, or how this API resourcing has been like mapped. Throughout our training, we're going to see a lot of configuration where we will be specifying something called a API version, and then we will configure something as a kind. So there are many different types of kinds available, which we will talk later point of time when we go one-on-one on our training. But these are some of the basic steps towards understanding the more complex world of Kubernetes. Now, if you just do a kubectl over here, and then you type API resources, I think this is the right command. Sorry, there was a typo there. When you do that, you kind of see a lot of API resources over here. These are the ones which we're going to call it as kind. Now you can see that this is the kind. This is namespaced, whether it is yes or no, like whether it is part of the namespace. What is which version of API it's using? It is using version 1, and sometimes you may have to give something like this. Okay, so it depends on the kind which you're trying to pull. We have to do that. And does this have a short name, like a canonical name or an alternative name for these kinds, so that you can call it like with those short names. For example, we normally call pods PO as well, and persistent volume as PV, and PVC is persistent volume claim. Likewise, you have shorter names, which we will see me using later point of the time down the line on the other videos. And then you actually have the name of these services, and mostly the name of the services become the kind name, except for the capital letters. So this every word begins with a capital letter in this kind scenario, but the name does not necessarily start with it, just the name given for that particular API resource. Now, do remember, this is the exact way we're going to call. So when we go proceed with multiple videos, you're going to see a lot of other services, items which you will be using. And all these items, right, will have one thing in common. It will have the API version, it will have the kind, without which the entire process of YAML file does not work. It does not satisfy the requirement without having the kind loaded as part of it. Now, this is something which is very basic, and which is something which you should know at the early stage. That's why this video is going to be there to help you out towards understanding this API version, and how the API server looks after all these versionings and all those complicated stuff regarding the kinds and the API version and their shortcuts. Now, do remember that when we also do kube control and do a get or describe or do any kind of activity towards this, right, you may have to like delete, create, whatever you want to do, anything with kube control, you need to give the kind. For example, over here you have a service / Kubernetes. So this is basically the service is basically what it is, like what actually the item it provides it, and the name of the service is Kubernetes. Likewise, I'm just showing you an example right now. So if I create anything, it needs to have what it is, as in like towards the name of the kind, and what actually is the name of the service, which is part of the kind. So this is basically the name of the kind, but not kind itself. It's just the name of the kind, which is service. As you have seen over here, towards the service, just searching for it. Let's do a grep on service. So you can see that this is services, and you have service over here, which is part of this one, and that's the name of its services. And a shorter name is SVC. Now you can see that I'm calling this upon get kubectl get SVC. So it is showing me all the service available. I'm also calling up all other things, but it is not showing up because it has not been configured because I've removed everything. As this is a default service, so it is still there. That's why you're looking at it right now. All right. So this is pretty much what I want to cover on this topic. This is just an introduction towards the service and the APIs, how the kinds are being called upon, and how to put that as part of the YAML file, as well as how to make these available for you at your disposal. Thank you again for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.